Hello, everyone. So I just wanted to take a moment and show you how to use the resource Smarthinking. It's a very helpful resource for revising and editing and also tutoring. So I'm going to show you first where to find it in the course. I will link it in the announcements, but if you want to find it otherwise, you can click on content and scroll down here to the additional resources tab. And underneath the additional resources tab, you'll see online tutoring help. And it's the first external link you can click on. So it should take us into a screen that just pops up automatically. I did have it show me a login screen. And I just honestly backed out and came in again, and it logged me in automatically. So it does take a couple minutes to actually get logged in sometimes. So like in a minute, it might actually ask me to log in again. Just keep going through the process and clicking through until you get to the right screen. So I have different options because I'm the teacher, but I'll log in as a student. And then, yep, so that screen that just popped up a second ago, you may see something like that when you first log in. Just go back and then try again. And it should take you to a screen that looks like this. Okay, so up here you can see that there's a couple different options. I'm going to choose writing help. Tutoring, you can also choose that, obviously, and you can choose writing, and you can have somebody actually help tutor you on things like if you want help with a thesis statement and workshopping your thesis statement, you can submit these questions. So this is like sending a message to a tutor. You type your question on the whiteboard, you'd hit submit, and then you would get an answer back. And I'm going to end the session. I'm going to choose writing help because this is how I can actually send my paper through to be looked over. So you can see that there's different options for you guys. I would choose Essay Center. But for those of you out there who are nursing students, very helpful. For those of you who might be writing a cover letter or have to write something for one of your business classes, like a business proposal, this is incredibly helpful. And you can also choose grammar and documentation review. So maybe I'll try this out. We'll try this out. Yeah. So this would be something that I would recommend if you just want to get help with the editing side. If you submit using this Essay Center, you can still choose those things, but you can only choose two. And I've noticed that in this essay writing in the Essay Center, you're going to get some feedback from the tutors in terms of construction and organization, which is very helpful. But you kind of have to apply your critical thinking skills because I've had students in the past say things like, well, you told us to do it this way. And then, the person in the Essay Center, the tutor in the Essay Center told me to make it more personal, but you said to try and make your argument in this part more focused on the logos. So you might run into advice that runs counter to some of the things I've said, in which case you'd want to go with what I said because critical thinking wise, I'm the one who grades you. So if you kind of don't want to fool with necessarily discerning whether or not the information is right for your assignment or not, then I would try out this option to have your paper done for the grammar and documentation review at the very least. The reason that you might get advice back is that that's a little bit contrary to what your teachers are saying is because tutors don't know your exact assignment. You can tell them about it, but they don't know exactly what your teachers are listening or looking for. And even if you were taking this class with another teacher, they might have different ways of approaching the assignment. And that's part of college, like figuring out how, the same as in the professional world, figuring out how to do things the way that you're asked for the situation. You might have two bosses who like things done differently or who focus more on one thing than another where you work. So that's just something you learn in the academic and professional world. So if you want to kind of deal with that level, you can certainly send it through the Essay Center and get some advice on organization because they are very helpful and thorough, and they give very good advice. But you may run into some advice that you have to say, well, I don't know if that's the best advice for this situation. So that's just a little caveat. So if you're coming into the weekend and you want your paper to just be looked over, you can see that this option is here for grammar and documentation review. So for course level title, you guys would write English 102. Writing title, you would say, oh, no, that's the wrong thing. You would say literature review. And that's a really good example because different people have different ideas of what they want from a literature review. So when you send this to a tutor, they might think, well, I wrote a literature review in undergrad and this is what I had to do, without knowing that we have a very particular specific rubric with questions that need to be answered for our assignment here at Deltec. So here you can say, provide your assignment description, including expected length and documentation style, if any applicable, and any special instructions for your tutor. So here, if I were you guys, I would write something like, we are writing a two-source lit review on a topic to research in the future. Why can I not spell address today? There we go. The style is EPA 7. The length requirement is 5 to 7 pages. That took me a minute. Including front and back matter means that ultimately you need to do at least 3 pages of writing, and then you'll also have your title page and you'll have your reference page at the end. Okay. So you can choose first available. That's what I would choose. And then here, you're just going to upload your draft. And then you'll hit submit and send it through. And this is linked to your DTCC. So when they're done reviewing it, you'll get an email with a link. And I think that this is something, honestly, that everybody should do. Send your paper through. The volume that they're getting right now, I'm not sure about. Because since everything switched online, it might have a pretty heavy volume of papers to go through, but you can see at the top that Smarthinking strives to return essays within 24 hours, and I'm pretty sure they're there on the weekends. So if you want this reviewed by your paper due date of midnight on Sunday, you're going to want to get this in on Friday or Saturday if you're pushing it. But this is how you would do it. And then you can actually later, you should be able to go back and look over it if you want. Oh no, those are scheduled sessions. Let's see, archived. Is there anything? No. Let's go back. They've changed the screen around a little bit, which is fine. Let's go back. Let's see more. No. You can see that, it's kind of fun to play around with. You can choose text message alerts. And there are videos and things in here. So it's really an awesome resource, honestly. You can take the tour so that you understand where everything is in there, which I should probably do because it's been a minute, obviously, since I've been in here. But I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, and then that'll have your scheduled sessions, study aids, support. Check it out. So that's just kind of a basic, so I'm sure that there's even more that you can do in here than I have. I don't know what that is. It's just a very cool resource. And as far as the testing it out goes, I have tested it out. I sent in some questions through the tutoring to the whiteboard, and I got very thorough, very good answers. I think that I did drop-in tutoring, which I think is an option, because I just wanted to ask a question. Oh, yeah, that's what I did. I did submit an offline question, and I just left it on the the whiteboard, and I got again, it'll show you the instructions. I got a very thorough, very helpful question. I mean, we're talking like paragraphs back for a question, because I'm always kind of skeptical about these things. I'm like, do I trust the advice? But I asked something like, which edition of APA, or which APA should I use, or which citation system should I use? And I was like very vague about it, or like, should I use 6 or 7? And I was not vague on purpose because I wanted to see the response. And the response was, you should ask your instructor. And then some guides were provided. So that was one of the questions I asked. I asked how to write a thesis statement, and I got an excellent response. And in both cases, when I submitted these offline questions, I got a response back within probably like 2 or 3 hours of having submitted it. And it was very thorough, very helpful. So this is a resource that I really recommend. If you have a question and you're worried about something, you can do the tutoring. And I'm going to go ahead and recommend that everybody, because why not? This is a free, thorough service that you're provided, sends their draft paper through on Friday or Saturday to see what you get in terms of just having another eye to help you with the grammar and the structure. So I'm going to recommend, everybody do the grammar and documentation review.